You fill your mouth with words and words. You twist them well. Oh yes, I heard. Sheets and ties don't cover your light. I see you come. You're the dry, you dry. You know me, you say we get the same society. Oh, you know me, you say we get the same philosophy. Oh, you know me, you say we get the same society. Oh, you know me, you say we get the same philosophy.
Hello, Nigeria. Happy independence. Happy birthday, Nigeria. Nigeria is not abstract. It's not an abstract. So I am congratulating you, and you, especially the woman of Nigeria. Congratulations. You were there the very first day, the second, 1 year, 2 years, and we are 59 together. Congratulations to have reached this particular year. Nigeria is 59. How does it feel? I don't know. For those who are already 59 years of age, I don't know how it really feels, but I'm sure it feels when you reach this particular level, you are an elder. It is expected that you do not lie, because that would be a shameful thing, I know, in the midst of younger generation to hear you lie. You have reached the level of an elder. So Nigeria has reached somewhere, and we are celebrating our dear country. You may be wondering, is there anything to celebrate about Nigeria? Just wait. You will know whether we have something to celebrate about Nigeria or not. On the Baroness, you can be sure we will really make you think about it. We will make you want to do something for this dear country. Okay, are you talking about baking cake? No. There are so many ways that you can celebrate your country. Well, the Baroness, today we're going to be helping you do that, especially as a woman, as a youth, as people who probably have considered themselves vulnerable in this society. We are here to speak for you, even on this occasion. My name is Beyitmoa Inyam. I am not alone. I am together with a Nigerian. Nene. Yes, I said in Nigeria. You see how she's looking? All green and white. A patriotic Nigerian, for that matter, patriotic woman of Nigeria. Nene, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Baze. And you are looking quite Nigerian yourself. Happy anniversary, Nigeria, and happy anniversary to everyone out there, especially the Nigerian woman who has toiled alongside the male counterparts to ensure that Nigeria is where she is today. You know, I do not believe in this adage that very few women have contributed significantly towards the political development of Nigeria. I want to believe that quite a good number of women have, participated in ensuring that Nigeria is where she is today. You know, Bates, when I look down, memory lane, I realize that a good number of women have sacrificed their lives. A good number of women have sacrificed their own comfort, to ensure that Nigerian women today, you and I, can enjoy what we are enjoying today. And
in fact, yes,
we actually say kudos to them, and we are saying that the labor of our heroes past will never be in vain.
Especially, we remember today the women who stood their grounds despite being ridiculed, being laughed at, being stoned at some instances, being called names. They were called prostitutes at sometimes, Nene, yes, because they dared to come out to speak. They were expected to keep quiet, to be silent, and not to be heard. Well, that era is past. They have sown their seeds, and I believe that the seed is germinating. So we do not wish to frustrate that seed from germinating to fullness, that we can reap the fruits thereof. So just come along with us on the Baroness today, and we will talk about some of these things that women have done and are doing and will continue to do, especially as we look forward to a new, let me say new year, because we have marked 59, we're entering New Year as Nigerian women. So before we do that, last episode, it was a chat room. All of us sat here, Anita, Nene, and I discussed something. The clip we brought to you was the visit of the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Dame Pauline Talen, her visit to the wife of the Governor of Plateau State, Mrs. Regina Lalong, and the focus of their discussion, every one of them seemed to be directing attention now to the girl child. And they talked about the fact that the girl child needs to be educated, she needs to be empowered mentally, socially, everything, to be able to occupy her space in the scheme of things from where she is to where she will be. When we enter today's discussion proper, you will understand that it is not actually in isolation that they are thinking that way, because actually the world over is already thinking towards that direction. And by the time we go into the program proper, you get to understand that it's no longer, well, this usual saying, business as usual.
The woman's place is in the kitchen.
Either in the kitchen. She is no longer in the kitchen, neither is she in the other room. In fact, anywhere she occupies, whether you keep her in the other room or you keep her in the kitchen, from that place, she always will project to the very, very central place where decisions are being taken. She knows how to do that. So she's not limiting. You can't even limit her. So we are going to be doing justice to some of this topic, and to do that we have an all-important guest in the studio. You know, Baroness, we will not just bring you anybody. We will bring somebody that you know will discuss whatever we have at hand judiciously. Let me not talk too much about. Nene will introduce our guests and tell us more about her. Well, personally, before you do that, let me just say that personally, I have been thrilled by her person, her pursuits, her energy at work and everything. And she represents the kind of woman I would have loved to, but I'm okay here anyway.
Interesting. And you know, Bays, actually looking at our guest today, the first time I actually came in contact with our guest was, I think, way back either 2012 or between 2013 and 2014. Then I think I was just a few months pregnant. And a group of her friends gathered together. They wanted to honor her. It was her birthday, so they wanted to throw a surprise party for her. And then they called me and said they needed me to anchor, the occasion. And that was the first day I saw her and met her and heard her talk. And after that, I got to know that she is a woman who does not begin a project and, never completes it. She's a woman who is passionate about academics. She's a woman who is passionate about improving other women. She is a woman who, has traveled the length and breadth of this country and even outside the country in search of not only knowledge, but partnership, to kind of uplift her own field of endeavor. I'm sure you'll be wondering who this woman is. She's none other than Professor Patricia Lar. She's a woman that we younger women are looking up to. And she's a woman, as Beit said, that we want to be like when we grow up. Prof, it's actually nice and a privilege to have you on the Baroness.
I feel highly, highly privileged. I feel embarrassed by that. Happy Independence, Nigerians, and I thank God for making me a woman.
Yeah, I think, I like that.
I like that. Above all,
thank God that
I'm
I
a woman.
am a woman. There are a lot of people today in this crazy world who would do anything to become a woman. They would want to begin to change their sex and all of that. But thank God that we are women, and thank God we are African Nigerian women who are representing in our own field of endeavor. Yeah. Now,
yes, if I leave you, Nene, you will go on and on. But I think that we have a clip that we wish for you to watch.
Yeah.
After that, then the discussion will continue. Keep watching. Yes, it is still the Baroness.
And I want to appreciate, because of the women group that came out, all the women, I can see the beauty of God's creation in their faces while they sang. And I want to apologize to all the women in Plateau State that we, the men, we have failed you, because we are the cause of all the troubles here on the plateau. And I want you to accept all our apology. And going forward, we believe there's going to be a turning. We are already turning the corner here on the plateau. Now we are here because each and every one of us, we the adults, we the fathers, political positions, and all the traditional rulers, and every person, we know the cause of this trouble. There must be no more bulk passing. I am very happy with our father, the Bonpon Judge, the chairman and council of traditional rulers and emirs, when he addressed the youth during our peace march that we did. He spoke to the youth and spoke to every person just like the father that he is. And that is why we are saying that we have turned the cow towards peace. Peace is possible, it's achievable, it's in our heart. In as much as we call here house of prayer, first of all, we must have the heart of prayer, because the Lord said, my house shall be called the house of prayer. If we don't have that heart of prayer in us, it's in vain.
We thank God for making this day a reality. When the general was speaking, I was wondering whether he is already retired. But you could see somebody who was speaking with passion. It is unfortunate that all of them seated there have left their families to come and help us restore the peace that we destroyed. That's why he's speaking with that passion. I don't have much to say because I concur with him that the bishops and the Reverend Pam have delivered the message. And I want to, on behalf of not just the traditional council in Plateau State, but the men that the general has accused of being the cause of the problem, we sincerely apologize to the women. But Wimkan Plateau visited me a few days ago. And I also reminded them. I read somewhere, someone said, no king. No, they call us royal fathers today, like king. No king anywhere, no angel anywhere has been bestowed with the responsibility that God has bestowed on women. It is only the women that carry pregnancy in their wombs, about 9 months. They give birth in pain. The pain that you and me can just imagine, we can never get to know the truth of it. They raise these children, they are the first teachers. They breastfeed the children. I've had cause to say it's not just about feeding food. It's about medicine. And above all, it's about spirituality. We will all agree today that we face the challenges we face because of dysfunctional families. The Almajiri there, the drug addict out there, and all the people that are being used for this violence are from families. The families today are dysfunctional. Like the general has said, the fathers have become irresponsible. I'm sorry to use that word. They're truly irresponsible. And then some want to make a name. They want to become giants or politicians or civil servants, captains of industry. The writer that I'm quoting said, of what benefit will it pay you if your home is destroyed? We have been called to strike the balance. The children that God has blessed us with, they are a blessing, they are a responsibility unto all of us. And yet they are the children on the streets.
Welcome back. It is still the Baroness, and we are celebrating Nigeria at 59, the Baroness Way. Of course, what is the Baroness Way? Discussing this age-long country, her journey, with somebody very special in it, the woman. What she has been doing all this while, who she has been, the journey so far for the woman. We have come to a stage in this, our lives, that so many things have happened today. Like on the plateau, if we narrow it down to the plateau, a lot of things have happened on the plateau. And Nigeria as a whole, what has dominated discussions in the late, let me say probably in the last 10 years, will be, yes, last decade, will be the issues of security, will be the issue of the safety of lives and property here in Nigeria. Insurgency, attacks and counter-attacks, here and there. You hear interpretation about it today, tomorrow is another interpretation in a lot of things. And in the midst of this, the woman is the one that has borne the brunt of all of these happenings in the country. And we're wondering, what is her role? Where has she been? What has she been doing? What can she do? And how should the society look at her? You watch that clip, and that clip, I'm sure, has set you thinking. These are very important people in the society, the STF commander in Plateau State, and the Bongom Jones. These were their comments during the prayer in honor of, in celebrating Nigeria at 59 at the Government House Chapel here in Jos. And during the occasion, during their goodwill messages, they mention attention is now being, directed at the woman. Why? Because the family, the fabrics of society, of the family has broken down. And who would salvage it? What has happened? Somebody has failed. That the woman is now...
The woman, is being sought after.
Yes.
It's a weighty statement for a security operative, an officer, to say that the men have disappointed people, so women would now be engaged to ensure that the society is peaceful and secure. Now, you'll be wondering, why are they talking like that? I think the reason they're talking like that is not far-fetched. We have tried the men for 59 years. Where did that land us? Well, we are not the guest, babe.
We are not.
Let's get to hear, from our guest. Professor Lar, I know that the Nigerian woman has gone through a lot. Every year, every independence, we talk about the Gambo Sawabas, we talk about the Margaret Ekpo, we talk about the Tonya Prince-Will, we talk about the Hanatu Choloms, we talk about the Jugu, we talk about, Mary Lars and all of them. And there is a particular Birom lady that was in the league of Margaret Ekpo and all of that. I cannot remember.
Patrick Doherty.
Now,
Mrs. Patrick Doherty.
Now, all these women put together during their time, you know, were able to form a formidable force. They were reckoned with. What is it that they did then that we can do now and improve upon, so that even if we cannot do what they did, let's do more than what they have done as women?
And sorry, maybe to add to that question so you can just put it together. Do you think this challenge being thrown by the STF commander in Jos and in Plateau State and the Bongom Jos, do you think the woman of Plateau and even Nigeria is equipped to take this role?
Honestly, these are weighty issues, and I would like to say the woman has come of age. The woman has, over the years, struggled and been the brunt of all the challenges, the security challenges. She has been a little bit deprived economically, so she's not been empowered financially. And yet, talking about women in time past, these women struggled on their own to make their mark. The gap is that there has been a lack of mentorship for the woman of tomorrow in those days.
Okay.
And we can see a gap because there's a disconnect. But the woman has been helped globally, and we are benefiting today because there's been a lot of United Nations decisions to give the woman a frontline position, to give her room, because the growth and development of our society is not dependent on the man alone, but that the woman should be given an equal opportunity. And over time, I think we have that economic, we're still economically deprived, but we have come of age. We are the ones holding forth at home, struggling to feed the family, because the men are not there. The men have been either bastardized or killed, and the men are just being put down by Goskolo and other vices in society. And so the home is being left bare. Women are being left to take control, to tend and to watch over children with the minimal resources available. Okay, you have the educated woman who is now providing the need of the family, sufficient to keep things going. And so there's a lot, the society is being threatened by this imbalance, so to say, that is being left on the woman. I want to agree that the woman can hold the society. The woman has a role to play significantly to foster peace in society if given the chance. And I welcome the commitment of the STF commander. That position is an assertion of the fact that the woman has resources enough to, support and promote peace in the society.
Okay,
she is endangered. The girl child, on the other hand, is endangered. When we talk about women, we're looking at the different stages. The older woman, the younger woman. The younger one needs to be protected. She needs to be protected from domestic violence and all the many vices that put them down, that intimidate them from standing out to fulfill their role.
Exactly.
I'm thinking, Beit, the assertion made by the STF commander and the Bongom just kind of gives credence to the fact that the Nigerian woman has come of age.
She has come of age.
She has come of age,
yes.
So she can be relied on.
She can
with
be
responsibility.
Agreed.
But is she politically mature to be able to, stand on the same level playing field with her male counterparts? Because I know that politically speaking, for elective positions, women have not really
been given
they've not been given the opportunity. We saw what happened in the last political dispensation during elections. The number of women that came out to vie for political positions actually was the highest number of women over the years. Unfortunately, not up to half or quarter of them were able to secure elective positions. So are women politically mature, or they're just being put down by their male counterparts?
I think the woman has been, she is mature. The Nigerian woman, the woman globally has come of age. You have more women that are educated, almost 45–50% compared with their males. The only thing is that she's not being trusted and that she's being deliberately sidelined. If given the chance, the likes of Pauline Talent, the likes of, you know, there are so many, the Saraki, you know, Senator Sarakis, and many of them who are now ministers in government, lots and lots of women have capacity to take Nigeria to its destination. But
Why
they
do you
need to
think
be
the
trusted.
distrust? Yes. What is, distrust?
Who is not trusting who? The men don't trust the women?
I think the men players
trusting?
are not trusting women, and then the women too, over time, are not entering the trenches as they should. This is why, looking to the future, the women need to re-strategize. Probably they're busy keeping the home front, busy trying to find resources to survive. That kept them from taking part in the meetings in the trenches with the boys. And so they are outsmarted when the guys go out to take political strategies in the night in secret places. These are some of the things that kept women out of the decision-making
We've had
positions.
cause, Prof, we've had cause on this program to ask the question.
Yes.
Why do political meetings take place in the night?
Well,
of course, it is a strategy. I mean, I have not been very much a politician, but in the campus where I practice my constituency, I know that meetings can take place in the dark because you have your competitors trying to know what you are doing. And so meetings are held. I was an activist as a student union leader in my days, and I knew that we used to have meetings in the night times, late in the night times. And when I was in the Christian fellowship, I was victimized because I was meeting with the boys in the night. And during that time, I was accused of sleeping with men. And yet I had friends who were not sleeping with men. We were only meeting politically. And I emerged as a student union treasurer in Abu Zaria in my time. So meeting with the boys, it hasn't been easy with women, but we have to re-strategize. We have to keep company. We have to trust each other. And the men should trust us, because just like their counterparts, we can't deliver.
Well, women have been delivering, and I think I like this aspect of, you know, what they did to you during your union days.
Yes.
It's still being done to women.
It's still being done. It was done, and it's still being done.
It's left for women to, like she said, re-strategize.
That has not broken us. So you see, it's a clue to you that actually they will always do it. We will take a break. When we come back, this discussion, this interesting, let me qualify it, this interesting discussion will continue on the fate of the women as Nigeria turned 59. It is still the Baroness. Keep watching.
Never a dull moment on PRTV. Much more exciting moments on The Baroness with Nenedum, Bates Moanyam, and Anita Malu every Tuesday 4:30 p.m. and Friday at 10:30 a.m. on the TV arm of PRTV. The Baroness,
giving women,
youth, children,
and vulnerable groups in the society a voice.
Join us.
We may have to fight internal violence when the insurgency dies down.
What we discussed last week
Was on children.
is when an aspect of this violence
Against
that's
children.
been meted against children, especially the girl child.
What of advice would you have? Because we have a lot of young people who are aspiring to leave the shores of Nigeria for those greener pastures in those other countries.
And those greener pastures, that kind of green pasture almost cost him his life.
Never a dull moment on PRTV.
Never a dull moment on PRTV. Much more exciting moments on The Baroness with Nenedum, Bates Moanyam, and Anita Malu every Tuesday 4:30 p.m. and Friday at 10:30 a.m. on the TV arm of PRTV. The Baroness,
Giving women,
Youth,
children, and vulnerable groups in the society a voice.
join us.
Back. It is still the Baroness, and we are discussing the Nigerian woman at 59. Who is that Nigerian woman? It is you. You have been inside. Maybe your age is not 59, but the Nigerian woman is 59 because she was there when Nigeria was birthed. She is still here. She will continue to be inside. But we don't want her to just exist. We want her to live. We want her to contribute something into the growth of Nigeria. Nigeria shouldn't just be growing like that without the woman. But of course, it has been with the woman. But we have not been satisfied with the place that she occupies because we believe she is being underutilized. She has a lot to offer. But what are these things hindering her? We have been discussing in the studio with Professor Mrs. Lar in the studio, and she has been doing justice to this discussion. She started by saying she's happy to be a woman. Let's go back to our discussion.
You know,
yes,
Bates, I'm looking at, you know, the Nigerian woman and what we have been able to achieve. And if I would like open the scope of our discussion, or the beam the searchlight maybe out of Nigeria and into Africa, you know that Liberia became the first African nation to break a cultural jinx in Africa, and you know, brought out a female as a president. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf became Africa's first female president. Now, I am looking and yearning and desiring for that day that Nigeria too will break that cultural barrier. Because, Prof, there is a cultural barrier.
There is, certainly. That's one of the factors that have put women out from being in the trenches together with the men. This cultural thing is deeply ingrained. You have some men that would say, how can a woman lead me? How can a woman sit and take decision on top of me? But you know, that this is where men need to recognize and women need to promote, project it too, that really, what really is the difference between the woman and the man when it comes to her function and her role? You know, yeah, we have some traditionally assigned roles, but they are not cast in gold. That's not really what we were created to be. God gave us the potentials to make our society what it should be, women or men. That's why we have the drive for equal opportunities, to allow the woman to contribute her role just like the man. It does not matter whether it's a woman or a man. The thing is, the job should be done. And we have, like we said, we've come a long way. We have many women who have been deputy governors in Nigeria, just like the Liberian situation. The female president, Sirleaf, she gave Liberia life. They are now part of the Committee of Nations, but she was trusted with by her nationals, her people, the people in her country, and given the room to lead that country. She was a mature woman. She worked and she also created the environment for others to work. And no woman in Nigeria, if given the room, will not do even better.
And there's this stereotype also against the women. When a woman does something wrong.
It is blown out of proportion.
It is blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
What would you say concerning that? For example, corruption is in, I mean, let me say anybody can be corrupt. Anybody can be guilty of corruption. Any human being. Anybody.
Man or woman.
So why do you think they tend to blow that of the woman out of proportion?
No, it is blown simply because it meets the expectation, the sentimental expectation of society that the woman is weak, she's incapable of upholding strong virtues or maintaining certain ethical standards. And that's not right. That's not true. If you weigh the issues of corruption in society, men and women, the men outdo women in that dimension.
You know, it's interesting when Beit, you were asking that why does the society or why does the media, we're the ones that actually blow it out of proportion?
Really?
Why do we blow it out of proportion when a woman makes a simple mistake that every other person or every other male makes?
Or many men have done.
No, many men will make, okay, for example, many speakers of the House of Representatives maybe were impeached as a result of financial misappropriation. But when no much noise was made. But when Patricia, okay, your namesake. When it was her turn, it was like, okay, you people have been shouting, giving it to you, you cannot do anything. She's just one out of 1 million women. And I want to believe that there's this popular saying in local parlance that the bitter garden egg, every bitter garden egg is red in color, except it is not exposed to sunlight. So you expose the bitter garden egg to sunlight, it turned red. So what would you do with the position if given to you?
Well, I'm happy we're being joined by another guest, a very eloquent and distinguished guest in the studio. She is none other. Should I leave you to introduce her?
Actually, she's one of our own.
Yes, let me leave you to introduce her.
Let me say something that someone said some time back. She said the university actually poached her from PRTV. She was a staff of PRTV, a dedicated staff of PRTV, a woman that was known with a particular brand. And when she moved to the university, she made her mark. When you talk development communication, she's there. When you talk about gender equality, she's there. And let me thrill you to tell you that she was actually part of the campaign team of Hillary Clinton, whether in front or behind, but she made considerable contributions during the campaign of Hillary Clinton when she was running as president for the United States of America. But we all know that that didn't see the light of day. So it is our pleasure today, to have also in the studio with us Dr. Nancy Katu Ogundimu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. Nancy, you're welcome.
Sorry, I came in.
I like what you're wearing.
I
love this. You're just, you're representing what we've been talking about here.
Exactly. And just before, she came in, we're talking about Nigerian women, how we can contribute, towards nation building, development, and how not to be put down by the men. And we looked at the Liberian situation. And tapping from your experiences in the U.S., how you saw women, how they acted, what do you think Nigerian women need to do, Plateau women need to do, to be able to get to the front from the back?
That's a very interesting question. What do we need to do compared to other? We need to rise to the occasion. And we need to learn how to organize. We need to learn how to set structures. I think it's not just a woman problem, it's also a Nigerian problem. People wake up one day and then they want to be president, they want to be House of Representatives without working at the grassroots. And I like looking at examples like Barack Obama. At the time he came, and actually I've been reading his books, The Audacity of Hope and Dreams from My Father, very fascinating books in terms of how he was able to pull himself together. This was the first black person to be chairman of the Harvard Law Review. That was a big accomplishment. And when he finished from Harvard, rather than going to practice, and make money, he decided to go back into community organization. So he went to the grassroots and began to work with poor communities and in very, very poor neighborhoods in Chicago, which is where the state that he actually claims as his own. And started from the state Senate in Chicago before he went to the federal Senate, and interestingly for just one term before he became president. So when he became a candidate, people were asking, who is this man? Who is this man with the very funny name? But he had something to draw on. There were people he worked with at that community level, and all he did was to collect donations of $5. That was actually the money that propelled him. So I think part of our problems is that we need to go back to the grassroots. We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to set structures. People need to know us in our communities. We need to work. You know, part of the problem we have is that we need brand recognition. We need people to recognize our names. But how many lives are we touching at that level? We need to be at a point where tomorrow you want to contest, the people who will vouch for you are the people at the grassroots, who would say, we know her. And we actually have women with track records, like the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs. Yes, she started way down. Way down. And she has a lot of scars on her body to show, in terms of the attacks that she got personally, in terms of the disappointments that she's had to go through. But every time, what admires me is that she shakes her body, she gets up, and then she keeps moving. So I think for us, we need to go back as Plateau women. You know, we keep saying, what happened to us? Sometimes I find it difficult recognizing that this is us. Because the Plateau woman that I knew, you know, these older women, the resilience, the strength, you know, the women who stood as symbols of strength. I look at late Mama Gomwak coming from jail to being the voice that you would listen to. Going to the two women, Mama Jugu and Hanatu Chono. You may not have called them women of education. This is Dokotri. But these are women that, you know, knew how to move around. They knew how to mobilize. You know, so I think we have to start from the beginning.
Okay, Dr. Nancy, now the men have dominated our polity for a very long time. Do you think it's going to be easy to do?
They will always dominate.
Yeah, until we populate. I like that. We have to populate. And just going by what Nancy said, we have to populate. We have to be known. We have to make our impact, and that's why coming together as women now, we must strategize for 2023. And it is now. You don't just begin with the vision of being governor, being senator. Start somewhere. Counselor. Let's spread ourselves around. Go in for councillorship. Be known in your community. Register yourself and be relevant to your society, whichever community, whichever tribal union, wherever it is. It's not a hidden. It shouldn't be a hidden thing. Let your own know you. I think part of why we have failed to be there up, apart from the fact that we are deprived culturally and we are mistrusted, we have not been there. We come up from out of the you know, and yes, it's a recipe for failure. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of that, and it will be good for some of our political scientists to document this trend. Coming out of the blues is a recipe for failure, but starting and being known, then we will deal with the issue of being trusted. The issue of cultural hindrances will eventually solve themselves, just like it worked for other women in Liberia and other, even our own Mommy Pauline Talent. She had culture to contend with, but she, like she said, shook it off and moved on. She has made her mark. So she's a model for many to learn from.
Do you think that if women now go into political parties, will it change something? And how should they play it when they enter political parties?
Of course, they will have to. They will have to make available resources and substances. They must participate. You can't just want to be what you are not. So you must do some study. Whether you're educated or not, you must do some investigation. You must know what is the mind of the party, whichever party. And it does not matter whichever party. But do your own homework and align with the goals and objectives of the movement. Your people's needs and aspirations, you need to identify with that. What really is their core? What are their values? What are their aspirations? What are the gaps? What are people lacking? Line up with them.
You know, talking about core values, you know, lining up with the interest of the people. Dr. Katu, the Nigerian women, you know, in politics, it's always been, I will not vote a woman. When she goes there, she will forget about us. She will tie her ligogoro, she will put lipstick, she will paint her face, she will not say, you know, that's been the narrative. Now, how can we break that and then really carry each other along so that when we do contests, unfortunately, there's just one female in the State Assembly. She was hosted here, and we all know that no matter the magic, if you're a lone voice in the wilderness, it will be difficult for you to achieve much. So what can we do to change the narrative of women being their own enemies?
You see, first of all, I don't believe I should vote a woman because she's a woman, just because of your gender. So we need to move beyond I'm a woman, vote for me, to begin to show us what you stand for and what your beliefs are. There's a reason why America still doesn't have a female president. We're not the only ones with the same kind of prejudice, you know. After the 2016 election, there was a caucus, a focus group discussion with women from Michigan, actually black women, who actually give larger support. But what they said is that we didn't think that a woman can handle a complex nation like America. And we're now seeing a dynamic change. Elizabeth Warren, nobody took her serious from the beginning, but she's been going around and she's been speaking, she's been selling her policy and her ideas, and gradually she's rising in the polls. So what am I saying? You don't come, I remember a program that the Baroness held somewhere in Zumji, and the focus of that program was just for women who are contesting to come and tell us
what they stood for.
What they stood for. We had one or two saying, actually, I thought I was supposed to just come and say, I'm a woman, vote for me. But that's the reason why women will not particularly vote for you. Women need to see that you stand for something.
Exactly.
I need to be able to look at your policies and what your goals are and compare it with another person. And then see that, you know, first of all, I also need to see your track record. You don't fall from the sky and then begin to sell. So it goes back to what she's saying. You have to go back to the grassroots. You have to have a belief for something. You need to stand for something. You know, if you don't stand for anything, you just don't stand for one thing, you don't even stand for anything. You can't stand for everything. So we need to find a way of, that's why mentoring is good. As we build towards 2023, we need to teach women, you know, how do I campaign? How do I create policies? Those things that I'm thinking in my head, some said I like working with widows, and it goes beyond that. We need to see a more concrete, you know, policy that you intend to work with.
I would like to draw attention to our own sister, Benny Lar, the Honorable Benny Lar, who has been a fourth-time member of the House of Representatives, elected popularly from her own constituency. This young woman has put her marks on the table. She has aligned with the developmental needs of our society and has embarked on projects and really engaged the youth and empowered them economically. And Benny has continued to remain relevant from the grassroots. You know, I think she's also another model for those who would want to go into active political participation, to align, like I said, with the grassroots and with their aspirations. Find what really the gaps are. What is it that is wrong, and stand up with.
You know, somebody might argue with you that for Honorable Benny Lar, it probably runs in the blood, because her father's a politician behind it. You know, I almost thought that when she was first elected, I thought it was about, okay, her father or her sibling, relatives around gave word of mouth, and then she was, oh no, let's endorse the daughter of our own father, you know, of the land and all that.
But of course, after first and second,
third, you know that it's about her.
Yeah,
she made her mark.
She did, but
she learned from the family.
Let's be grateful for her background, because the father built a name, and the mother built a name that the children can build on. So she lynched on it, but she's also created a brand for her name and her name for herself. There's really nothing wrong with getting that foundation at the beginning, but it's what you do with it that begins to count. And I agree with you. I want to say something about these women and saying don't vote for them because they tie their gele. We also need to encourage women to also change an attitude when it comes to also, it's not coming from nowhere.
It's coming from somewhere.
It's coming from somewhere. And much as it could be exaggerated, it's also a very big reality that it does happen. That after the struggle is over, then, you know, women will go back to our tents or Israel. We need good representation. And I actually look forward to a situation where we have women who represent well, to a point where when we seek for more appointive or elective positions, people don't remind us of how badly we have done.
One of us.
You know, it's interesting. Each time I sit and I listen to, you know, these two women talk, I want us to, you know, keep talking and talking, because I know that we have to move from talking to working, and we have to work the talk. And there are quite a number of people who watch Baroness. You know, I've heard testimonies of people say, I don't send messages, but I don't miss your program. Now, in Plateau State, the Executive Council has about, I think, 4 women,
commissioners,
nominees, you know. Isn't that a far cry from 24, Dr. Ogundimu?
It's a far cry from everything. I think we had high expectations. Because after the first tenure, there were overtures and there were talks and attempts at lobby and you know, to get there. But somehow I would say that we're disappointed that it happened, but I would say we are grateful because I also believe that if these 4 women become very outstanding, then there's something we can refer, you know, back to.
I would say that's about 20% of the entire cabinet. I mean, nominated commissioner.
They're almost near the 30.
That falls short of the 35% affirmative action, which we expected our leaders, our governors to be committed to. We don't want to, we're not begging. We're not fighting to say, give us 35% slot. But to line up with global practices, with the aspirations and the legal expectations for good governance, we need to increase that population, that figure. It needs to be improved on from 20, 35. We're supposed to be asking for 50 now, but unfortunately that is 20. We are grateful, but we are looking to and hoping that the leadership of Plateau State government will consider more women in other
I mean, 4 is just commissioners. There are still other appointments. So we believe that that's where they're keeping the women.
Okay. That's good to know, actually. It's actually good to know.
We honor the governor, we respect him, and we're grateful for that slot. But it can be better, could have been better.
Viewer, it might interest you to know, we introduced our guests independently, but one thing we didn't tell you is that they are part of the Baroness. You know why? Okay. Some years ago, when we were discussing, particularly last year, build up to elections, our attention on the Baroness focused on how women can participate effectively in the politicking period, and how, we will just play our part and see how many women will emerge and all of that. And that took us to what Dr. Nancy had, Dr. Katu had, cited one example, our 3rd anniversary. So when we had that program, that town hall meeting, there was a steering committee to see to it that women are more prepared for 2023. Are you scared?
No, don't be.
Don't be. Good things will come. So we want to briefly, Dr. Katu, what is the way forward now for the Baroness, especially pursuing this goal?
Dream, yeah.
Yes.
I think the first step has been what we have been doing.
Okay.
We've gone through a period of consultation. We're still consulting. We're still talking to ourselves. And we do realize that much more than sitting in the studio and talking to women and talking and talking, there's a need for action. And if we stay on this platform and keep asking for action without us taking the first step, then we will keep talking. So I think the first step has been to create the platform outside of the program, which it's kind of a communication and development strategy to use different platforms of communication to reach out. And so what we are doing at the next level of the platform is to see how we can bring women of like minds together with a common vision, a shared vision of seeing how we can work with Plateau women towards 2023. So our goal is just twofold. First of all, to build on advocacy or involvement of women at all levels of governance. Two, we are interested in mentoring women, not just younger women, even older women who are into it. So we're looking to partner with different groups to achieve that. Thirdly, we realize in the course of our work that we do not have a database to draw from. So if we begin to talk to you about how women are underrepresented, we really don't have a strong place to look around. So we're grateful, though, the state government is doing something under the Office of the Statistician General, but we feel we need to contribute in that direction. So we are hopefully getting to a bit more technical part eventually when we get ourselves together. So I'm grateful for the mix. You need to see the mix of people in that group. I'm just excited.
you know, Dr. Ogundimu, it's interesting because when the dream of Baroness actually began, we thought we could just do our bit on this part, on this side of the camera by talking to women and encouraging them. But we realized that Baroness started getting bigger and bigger, and well, the studio can't contain the Baroness anymore, so we needed to go out.
Yes.
And that's where
we find ourselves, and then we have very wonderful women.
Exactly. And when people, I remember that when people saw some of our letters, they got a little bit jittery. They say that it's political, but we are but women who want to better the lot of women, but not just to bring to you any woman. We want to make sure that if a woman stands up to tell you, vote me, then you would have cause to vote her because she has track record. Because when you do vote her, she will represent well. Today, all of us are happy that Esther Dusu is in the house because Esther Dusu is a good representative. But we need more so that they could add to her voice, and then the Plateau woman would have a better deal than what she has.
We're not aligned to any political party.
Do
we look like politicians?
Just academics
and media,
some market women among us.
Exactly, and some market women around us.
Oh, of course, and Baroness it's a good platform for women of all disciplines to interact, to rub minds and build themselves up. It's an accessory towards enhancing the improvement of the what we call gender development index of our state and our country in the long run. Our voice will help empower women both in the rural and in the urban areas, both educated and non-educated, through some of the activities that we've outlined for advocacy and awareness creation among our own ourselves to foster this conversation among ourselves for what we've said, get involved from the grassroots. And as many women with the potentials will get empowered and be encouraged to continue.
I honestly wish this was the beginning of our discussion.
Sincerely.
Not the end. But unfortunately, we will have to draw the curtain here because we have done some justice to the topic. We hope to come back. We will do that so that we will discuss some more. on the Baroness, having people like Professor Patricia Lar and having people like Dr. Nancy Katu, they are all people who have track record of not starting anything, you know, and leaving it halfway. So you can be sure we will follow this discussion to the latter. We will leave the studio and meet you where you are.
Exactly.
It's been wonderful having all of you in the studio. Thank you very much, Nene.
Well, remember that you can reach us on the number that is on your screen. You can just send a message with your name and location and say the comment that you'll drop your comment, and then be sure that we'll read out that comment in our next edition of the program. You can also locate us on Facebook, the Baroness PR TV, or you can drop a comment on our Twitter handle, the Baroness, and you can also watch any edition of the Baroness that you've missed on our YouTube platform, that is at the Baroness PR TV, and then get to watch any edition of the Baroness that you have missed. It's lovely that you're with us today. We thank you very much.
But on behalf of everyone who has made this production what it has been, and especially our producer Esther Nasara and our coordinating producer Yakubu Tadi, and to our general manager, the executive producer, and the Baron, of course, he has a title, the Baron himself. Thank you very much for being supportive of this program. Till we come again next time, it's bye for now.